Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, US aid says that Tigrayan fighters from the northern Ethiopian region that's been at the center of conflict since last year have been opportunistic and looted warehouses of aid. Almost 1 million people are facing starvation in and around Tigray. Also, a top Beninese journalist opened up a sensitive conversation last year when she spoke up about sexual harassment in her high-profile workplace. But many women still fear breaking the taboo as not enough perpetrators face repercussions in the country. And the European Football Championship season's a sure bet for gamblers around the world. But in Senegal, there are worries that young people desperate for a shot are putting their hopes on the games and becoming addicted to betting. But first, in Ethiopia, Tigrayan forces have downplayed accusations from USAID, the US government's humanitarian agency, that TPLF fighters completely looted warehouses of aid when they retook Tigray. War broke out in the northern region last November when government troops were sent in. Thousands have died and the conflict has since spread. Up to 900,000 people are already facing famine and millions of others are in desperate need of help. The Ethiopian government has also been accused of stopping aid getting through to Tigray. Maria Geth Nicolescu tells us more.
USAID's mission director to Ethiopia, Sean Jones, has accused the TPLF, or Tigray People's Liberation Front, of looting and sometimes emptying several warehouses of the American agency in the Amhara region. In recent months, the conflict in Tigray has extended to neighboring regions such as Afar and Amhara, where thousands of militia members are mobilizing to fight the TPLF alongside government troops. Sean Jones also added that he considered the TPLF to be opportunistic, but his agency also specified that all parties to the conflict have been responsible for lootings since the war in Tigray broke out last November. The humanitarian situation in Tigray and in surrounding areas has been deteriorating for several months. Access to Tigray is now limited to only one road from the Afar region, which is heavily controlled. Less than 10% of the needed humanitarian aid in Tigray has been able to reach the region since the TPLF took back the regional capital Mekele last June, and 900,000 people are estimated to be facing a famine in the region. The situation is also dire for the hundreds of thousands of displaced people in Amhara and Afar, where the TPLF is accused of killing civilians. The Ethiopian government also accused the group of looting medical equipment and destroying medical facilities.
Maria Geth Nicolescu there for us. Look now at some news in brief. 73 students have been kidnapped in northwestern Nigeria after gunmen stormed a school on Wednesday. The government day secondary school in the village of Kaya in Zamfara state was raided at around noon. Police say that they're working with the military to try and track down the abducted children. Zamfara ordered schools across the state to be shut in a bid to prevent more attacks. Armed gangs have kidnapped more than 1,100 students across northwestern Nigeria just since last December. Meanwhile, the High Court in Tanzania has ruled that a terrorism case against the leader of the country's main opposition party can go ahead. Freeman Mbawi, who is the head of Chadema, has been jailed since July 21st when he was arrested ahead of a planned forum to call for constitutional change. He's facing terror, financing, and conspiracy charges and accuses President Samia Suluhu Hassan of political persecution. Now, she took over when late leader John Magufuli died back in March. There had been hopes that she would break with his autocratic rule, but Chadema has accused her of already cracking down on dissent. World Health Organization has downgraded its response to an Ebola scare in Ivory Coast after new tests showing that a woman thought to have been infected did not have the virus. The initial report that the country was dealing with its first case of Ebola in 25 years sparked a rush to immunize health workers and contact cases. New results from a French lab that retested samples have turned up no evidence of the disease. Well, like in many other countries on the continent, in Benin, sexual harassment in the workplace is rarely reported, as women are often too afraid to say anything for fear that they'll be made to suffer even more. Well, last year, state TV journalist Angela Kipija broke that taboo and started a public conversation on her Facebook page about the various abuses that she said that she's faced in her career. The video quickly went viral, but many women in the country still find it difficult to trust that the system will support them if they do dare to speak out. Our correspondent sent us this report.
This woman, still traumatized, says that her manager tried to rape her at work 7 months ago.
He was half naked. He threw himself on me. He said, "You always get away from me, but this time I'm going to do it."
Despite having audio recordings of the ordeal, her case has stalled.
We went to court. The person concerned never even turned up. We went 4 times in a row. He never showed up.
We speak to another woman who's still tormented by memories of being raped by her boss in May. She says that she's only made it this far thanks to counselling and legal support centres. This centre is currently handling 10 cases of sexual violence. But sexual abuse often goes unpunished as many victims are too afraid to speak out.
We're faced with several difficulties that do not allow us to go all the way. Some women drop their case before getting justice, or sometimes they're intimidated by their own entourage and families.
Christelle is the first woman in Benin to have had an attacker convicted of sexual harassment in the workplace. After resigning 4 times, she decided to take the next step. Last June, she won €22,000 in damages, and her abuser was given a 3-month suspended sentence.
I realise that if I resign, I am the only one to lose. The act must be sanctioned at all costs. The director must be punished by the law. I had to show the way to thousands of women who are victims of this phenomenon so that they would no longer be ashamed to talk about it.
Angela Capeggia is a renowned journalist. She's recently released a book in which she shares her experience of being harassed in the world of public television.
This cannot go on like this. We cannot continue to promote women on a sexual basis.
Campaigners want Benin to toughen legislation and see more perpetrators convicted.
Well, Wednesday saw the ban on motorbikes lifted in the Tigray region in Niger. Now, the restrictions were originally brought in last January because most jihadist attacks were carried out by men on motorbikes. The government says that security has improved, but some fear that they've been hasty in easing off the precautions. Nicolas Chemin has more.
A day of celebrations in Tillabéri. Residents washed their motorbikes and rediscovered the joy of riding. Since January 2020, motorbikes had been banned because they were often used by jihadists during their attacks in the region. On Wednesday, the ban was lifted as the government said the security situation had improved.
Today is a great day for me. We weren't expecting this. The ban was extended many times, but now it's over.
All our activities had to stop. It was difficult for us to support our families. All our trade was done on motorbikes, so today, thanks to God, this is a day of joy.
Residents had been calling for the ban to be lifted for months. It's the most common means of transport in the region. At the town hall, people rushed to register their motorbikes.
We are a bit overwhelmed, but we are managing. We are registering the names of all the owners of motorbikes here at the town hall.
Some analysts say the authorities bowed to pressure because attacks in Tillabéri have not diminished. Last month, 50 civilians were killed in the region. But others say this shows the ban was not working and therefore there was no need to maintain it.
Now, the European Football Championship season is a sure bet for gamblers around the world. In Senegal, though, there are worries that too many young people, desperate for a shot at making some money, are putting all their hopes on these games. Betting companies are multiplying in the capital as more people become addicted to the risky pastime. This report by our team.
Mamadou is a gambler with a penchant for sports. Every week, the teenager bets his savings on European football teams.
It's easy money. I could have gone to work in the masonry industry, but it's hard. It's hard work in the scorching sun. But if you have $1, you can come here and try your luck on the teams, and you can have the chance to win.
Sports betting has exploded in Senegal in recent years. Previously, the National Lottery was the only game of chance on the market, but several international betting companies have opened up in the country. In the Dakar neighbourhood of Grand Yoff, the latest bet is a hot topic among young people. Wagers are now increasingly made via smartphone. Baba has become totally addicted.
I once lost $200 in one day. Sports betting makes us idle and makes us want easy money. We ask for help. We suffer a lot. Betting takes away all our savings. I became addicted.
An addiction that also threatens minors tempted to follow in the footsteps of older brothers or friends. This blogger is calling on the authorities to protect young adults from the harmful effects of sports betting.
These are young people who are not going to have a working culture. A young man who has a phone connected to the internet can fall directly into this easy trap. There should be much more filtering in terms of security for young people.
Senegal's National Lottery, for its part, claims to apply a responsible gambling policy. However, the measures appear to have limited impact in preventing betting addiction.
Well, that's it for Eye on Africa for now. Thanks for joining us, and do so again if you can. Till then, take care.